And so then you got to have these beliefs, right? And beliefs are really pathways to the mind. Here's the thing that was really crazy to me, Constance, right? It is entirely possible to know something is true, right, but still not believe it. Like there are people who know that the pandemic is like really killing people, but still don't believe it's true, right? There are people who are like a size 0 and still feel like they're overweight, even though they know it's untrue. So you can know something is true and still not believe it. And so there are things in our lives, things in our businesses, there are things that we know are true, but we still don't believe it. And then there are things that we know are untrue and still believe it about ourselves. And so the reason why it's so dangerous when we deal with the media is because it can give you a false narrative on who you are, what your purpose is, what you're capable of, what your possibilities are. It can give you a false narrative on yourself. And so beliefs, right, are basically what teaches your beliefs are really the pathways to the mind. And so powerful people ask powerful questions. And so here's this powerful question for you. How does the mind know what it's supposed to believe? Like, how does your mind know what it's supposed to believe? And it's very simple. The mind only knows, here we go, Constance, this is for you, right? The mind only knows what it's supposed to believe through what you tell it consistently, and constantly. So anything you tell your mind consistently and constantly, it will believe it, whether it's true or not. Now, anything
that's why affirmations are important, right?
Yeah.
That's why affirmations are important. Yeah.
Right. So that's why your affirmation board is important, because anything that you tell your mind consistently and constantly, that's an affirmation. And see, the thing is, what we are guilty of doing as people in general, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, we are guilty of affirming things that are not true about ourselves. We are guilty of affirming things that are not true about our business. We are guilty of affirming things that we don't even, that we subconsciously don't even or consciously realize that we are damaging how we're going to show up in the world. And so you don't just need affirmations about I'm the bomb. You need affirmations that directly correlate with the things that you're trying to accomplish. I'm going to use as an example, Constance. When I was in elementary school, or really kindergarten, grade school, we had these. You remember back in the days, Constance, we had the little styrofoam cup, right? And they give you a little seed packet. You know, I know they do that in California, right? And then you go out to recess. So you ain't been in recess in a long time, right? Your kids, they miss recess, right? And you go out to recess, you get some dirt, you put it on top of the seed, you get some water, you get some water, you put some little water on your little seed, right? And then after that, then you put this styrofoam cup, you put it in the windowsill. Once you put this styrofoam cup in the windowsill, you know, I wasn't known for being the most patient brother. I'm sure that I'm still not known for being one of the most patient brothers, right?
Well, you talk pretty fast, so that's an indication that you like to just get things through.
Yeah. So I set the thing in the windowsill, Constance. I waited for about an hour, and then I raised my hand. And she said, yes, Trevor, can I go to the windowsill? Yes, Trevor, but why? I'm going to see if my plant grows. So I ran over to the windowsill, checked to see if my plant grew. My plant had grown. I was mad. So around about an hour later, I raised my hand. She told me to put my hands down, and she told me no, I couldn't go to the windowsill. She didn't even know what I was going to ask, but somehow she knew what I was going to ask. So after I guess we got to around about the end of the day, I ran back over to the windowsill before it was time to go home, and I noticed that my plant hadn't grown. I was a little bit frustrated, right? You got to fight through your frustration, right? And so I get into the car because my mom picked me up, and she says, oh, how was your day at school? And I said, oh, Mom, I made a plant, and I was the greatest plant grower of all time. And my teacher said I was the greatest plant person she had ever seen. I'm telling my mom all about my school day. So, we get home, everything goes great. The next day, my mom dropped me back after school. I dropped my book bag in the classroom and run to the windowsill. And when I get to the windowsill, I noticed that my plant had not grown. So I wanted to ask my teacher, what's up with the plant, right? What's happening? You said I was gonna put this seed in the cup, it was gonna be some dirt, some water, and it was gonna be a plant, and it's been a whole day and there ain't no plant. So this kind of went on for a couple of days, and I started getting really frustrated. Got to fight through the frustration. And one particular day I had a bad day, and I got in the car with my mom, And basically, she was like, "How's your dad?" I was like, "My plant did good." Now, somehow, within all of that, my mother heard that my plant didn't grow, right? And so when she got home, right, unlike my teacher who told me I just had to have some patience, I was 5. I didn't know what no patience was. My mother said, I want you to repeat after me. She said, some results happen overnight. Some results happen over time. But regardless, you'll be just fine. And so she said, repeat it, right? And she made me repeat it. So the first time I said, I was like, some results happen overnight. I wouldn't know why I plant didn't grow, Mom. But she made me repeat it over and over and over and over again until I memorized it. Some results happen overnight. Some results happen over time. But regardless, I'll be just fine. And so this went on for about maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. And then one day I get back to school, and when I drop my book bag off, I see everybody over in the corner standing around little Shelly. And everybody was going, ooh, ah, oh. So you know what happened? Shelly's plant had started to grow, and it had sprung up out of the dirt. While everybody was standing around Shelly, I wasn't thinking about Shelly. All I wanted to know was what's up with my plant. So I ran over, looked in the window, and basically my plant hadn't grown. And I was starting to do the, and then my teacher and my mother had already had a talk to me. What did your mother tell you? And sure enough, like some results happen over time, right? Some results happen overnight, right? But regardless, right, I'll be just fine. And so the thing about it is, even to this day, you know, I'm 47 years old. And the one thing that I know is that some results happen overnight, some results happen over time, but regardless, I'll be just fine. And that's an affirmation designed to teach my mind what to believe about results. Now, why is this important? Because as entrepreneurs, one of the first things we want to do is compare ourselves to each other. But think of yourself like well, nobody really actually cooks popcorn anymore. But back in the days, you know, we had, before there was a microwave, we had to really cook some popcorn. And basically you put all the popcorn kernels in the pot. All the popcorn kernels in the same pot, all the popcorn kernels using the same oil, but yet all of the popcorn, they all pop at their own time. Right. And so a lot of times as entrepreneurs, sometimes when our moment doesn't pop at the same time as other people, we start to think of ourselves as less of an entrepreneur, less of a success, less of a leader, right? And what's really happening is you just have to realize that it hasn't popped yet. You got to change your belief system. One of the ways you got to change your belief system is through your affirmations. Why? Because beliefs are what teaches your mind. Beliefs are how you teach your mind what to believe, or affirmations are how you teach your mind what to believe, right? Beliefs are the pathways to the mind. The mind, right, wherever you are in life, your mind got there first. So the goal is to get your mind there. But in order to rewire your mind, you got to rewire your beliefs. In order to change your beliefs, you got to have your affirmations. And so the thing that you got to know is that some results happen overnight, some results happen over time, but regardless, you'll be just fine. And so one of the things I want to encourage every entrepreneur to do is, long before you start this journey of the things that you want to accomplish, if it's, I'm going to write a squeeze page, a landing page, I'm about to build a funnel, I'm about to open up a business.
But you're advanced, because there's some people who are still in the ideation phase, right? Mm-hmm. So you have entrepreneurs who are just, wanting to start out, and this guy is brilliant. This guy he's a mad scientist. Like Trevor Otts is a mad scientist, and I'll say it until my dying day. I've seen you just come up with stuff off the fly. You have vision, but God has gifted you with something special. Some people don't know what a funnel is. Some people don't know what a squeeze page is. They don't know what those things are. So I want to take them back a little bit to say, what are some things? Because some people may just have an idea, right? Yeah. Some people may be in incubation stage. What do you say like are maybe 5 things that'll get people going from ideation to execution to having a full-blown business?
So I would say, a couple of affirmations.
Before we do that, I want you guys to share this on your page. I know we've been on and off about 8, 9, 10 times, lost some people along the way, but this is information that not only you need to know, and thank you guys for sticking with us, but your friends, your family, everybody needs to be sharing this information. Brandy, thank you for sticking with us. All of the people who are live with us right now, I'm not sure who's live with us, but if you're live, put in the comments box, let us know that you're here, because we want to connect with you. Trevor, again, brilliant man. So it's rare that you guys have an opportunity to glean and to get information from people of this magnitude. I'm serious. So I want to make sure that you guys are getting all the information that you need, but asking the questions that you need too, because this man has a multi-million-dollar business that I've seen grow, existentially, and he's still going. He's still grinding. He still calls me. He has a brilliant idea. We're working on some project right now. So, but I want this again. These are people. I'm only putting people on here that I've worked with, that I know have shown and proved who they are and what they do and what they're capable of. And Trevor Otts is one of those people. So I want you to share this information with all your people. Share, share, share. I think we're on. Hopefully, Zoom and Facebook will let us be great, and they won't kick us off. But I just asked Trevor, what are some things, maybe 5 things people can do to get from ideation to incubation? Hey, Carmia, who else is on here? Nikki, Brandy, and a bunch of other people. A bunch of other people are on here, but go ahead and put your information in the comments and ask questions. Who else is on here, Trevor?
I would say, what are some of the critical affirmations, especially for new entrepreneurs? Number 1, done is better than perfect.
Come on.
Done is better than perfect.
One more time. Done is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect, right? Second affirmation is you ain't got to get it right. You just got to get it going. You ain't got to get it right. You just got to get it going, right? And so for those people who kind of struggling to go from that ideation phase to that implementation phase, you ain't got to get it right. You just got to get it going, right? Done is better than perfect. The other thing is for entrepreneurs, a lot of times, I remember Shay Brown said this. He said that oftentimes we'll do more for others than we'll do for ourselves. So the trick to the whole thing is to treat yourself as good as you treat others, right? Shay Brown's father, Shay Brown Sr., when me and Shay were coming to him with our half-brain cockamamie ideas, right? Here's what he would say. He would slow down, he would pause, and he would say, it's easy to do, it's easy not to do. But if it's hard, it's the first thing you should do.
Oh, that's wisdom right there.
Yeah, and then, of course, we asked why. And here's what he said. Because doing the hard things in life develops discipline. Right? It's easy to do. It's easy not to do. But if it's hard, it's the first thing you should do. Why? Because doing the hard things in life develops discipline. So here's a formula for you. D plus D equals D. You made a decision to be an entrepreneur. That's the first D. A decision plus discipline equals dominion. And so what you have to ask yourself the question is,
decision plus discipline equals what?
Dominion. Right? Dominion over your family, dominion
all right,
over
write
your
that in the comments box.
Dominion over your bank accounts, right? You start to have control over your future, your destiny. And see, the question is, do you have the discipline to back up the decision that you made to be an entrepreneur? Because D plus D equals D. A decision plus discipline equals dominion. But it also works in reverse. A decision minus discipline equals a disaster. Right? And so if you don't have discipline.
So D minus D, D plus D might equal, do that again. D minus D.
D plus D equals dominion. Right? A decision plus discipline equals dominion. You have dominion over your life, dominion over your community, dominion over your bank account.
Write that down.
You have dominion, right? You'll be able to, as they say, dominate, #dominate, right? But a decision minus discipline equals a disaster. Your bank account gonna be a disaster, right? How you show up in the community, that's gonna be a whole disaster, right? And so when it comes down to the difference between successful entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who are not so successful, 90% of that is gonna come down to discipline. It's just discipline, right? And so that discipline, that's the key. And then the other thing is, remember that everything is possible when it comes to your purpose, right? There is possibility in your purpose, right? There is possibility in your purpose. Now, I'm going to take it at another level And I want you to never forget this, because a lot of times when we're talking about purpose, you're really talking about your God ordained right to make a difference in the world. And I believe that's what entrepreneurship is. I think entrepreneurship is, you operating in your God ordained right to make a difference in the world through the products and services that you offer. That's how I kind of define entrepreneurship. And, I think we all have our what we call our higher power. And I would say to any entrepreneur that, a lot of times you get kind of caught up between, well, who should I work with? Should I get a coach or a mentor or an expert or whatever everybody calls themselves these days? And I can just cut it down to real simple. I'm gonna give you two things to help you figure out what your next step is. Because as an entrepreneur, it's always, what is your next best step? Rule number one, if it came from God, it came with a plan. Just simple, right?
Right.
If it came from your higher power, it came with a plan, right?
Yeah. God's gonna give it to you. He's gonna show you how to do it.
Yeah, I was that bad kid in Sunday school, but I still remember the story of Noah's Ark, right? And essentially, he gave him this vision about building an ark, and then he gave him a plan about how to build it. Just that simple. Secondarily, and I want everybody to write this down on your sheet of paper, because sometimes when you're going into entrepreneurship and you knew, man, your head be on a swivel. They be like, do social media. No, write a book. No, do a funnel.
That's true. That's true.
Get a coach. Man, you know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you like this.
Listen. Yes, I don't want to.
Yeah. Rule number one for entrepreneurship: if the work is too hard, you got the wrong tool. Please, God, write this down. If the work is too hard, you got the wrong tool, right? If it's still too hard, you got the wrong strategy, right? So just because one of the number one problems that today's small business entrepreneur faces is an addiction to their labor as the primary mechanism by which they generate revenue. Don't get addicted to your labor. Don't get addicted to your labor, right? You got to find the labor-free equation, right, to creating a profitable enterprise. And so this becomes more about your automation and your organization. And so you want to kind of think about that. Now, I told you to take your papers out, and I want you to write this down. I want you to write down PPSA.
PPSA?
PPSA. And it stands for principle, process, strategy, action. This is how you can cut through because see, the thing you got to do as an entrepreneur, you got to, today I'm just going to have a free-flowing conversation with you. So I'm just going to speak the truth. You might never get the truth again when you get on these type of streams, you never know who's talking. I'm just going to be perfectly candid with you. As an entrepreneur, you got to learn how to cut through the BS and get to the profits. You know what I'm saying? So at the
how do you do that though? Okay, let's talk about it, because that's easy to say, but how do you cut through the BS and get straight through the profit?
So here's how you do it. You use PPSA.
Y'all better write that down. Right?
The first P stands for principle, right? Principle is the underpinning belief that guides your decision making, right? It's also known
guides your decision making. Okay.
And the decisions that it's the underpinning belief that drives your decision making and the actions that you take. That's the principle, right? Okay. It's the underpinning belief that drives your decision making and the actions that you take. Okay. It's also known as an absolute truth, right? In its simplest form, the principle represents the why. It just represents the why. So, Simon Sinek wrote this book called Start With Why.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorites.
Yep. And if you haven't read the book, everybody should read it. Put this on your reading list, right? If you don't like to read, get the audio book. If you don't like the audio book, watch it on YouTube. But start with why.
Or watch his TED Talk.
Yeah, it was amazing. Then, so the principle is the why. It's the absolute truth. Gravity is the principle. What goes up must what? Come down. You want to create something that's going to fly? If you don't understand the principle of gravity on the planet Earth, you ain't creating nothing that's going to fly. Then you got the second P, which is process. This is key. Process is a systematic plan of development based upon principles designed to produce a specific result. Process is a systematic plan of development based upon principles, based upon the truth, designed to produce a specific result, not a random result, a specific result, a systematic plan of development based upon principles, right? Based upon the truth designed to produce a specific result. In its simplest form, process represents the how. Now, here's how people get it wrong. so many times they try to learn the how, and they go to these gurus and they say, teach me how, but you don't know why. And so what starts to happen is, when everybody write this down, here's an affirmation. First comes the principle, then comes the process. First comes the principle, then comes the process. First comes the why, then comes the how. Why am I telling you this? Because results take as long as results take. Some results happen overnight, some results happen over time, but regardless, I'll be just fine. So what happens is, if you learn the process on how to create a 6-figure real estate company or a 7-figure real estate company, and me and you in the same class, and all of a sudden I do the process and I make 7 figures 6 weeks from now, and then you don't make 7 figures 6 weeks from now, you're gonna have a problem, because it's not the process doesn't work the same for everybody. So you're gonna have a hard time sticking to it. A lot of people when you don't know the why, it's hard to stick to the how.
Right.
See, when you don't know the principle, it's hard to stick to the process. And some of y'all got bad habits and no discipline as entrepreneurs, because you try one process to the next process to the next process. You ain't got no stick to it in this. You ain't got no discipline. Remember, a decision minus discipline equals a disaster. A decision plus discipline equals dominion. And if you want to dominate in your industry, dominate in your business, dominate in your life, you got to develop some discipline. But you don't arbitrarily develop discipline. So I do not arbitrarily follow people's processes without knowing the principle, right? And so the process is a systematic plan of development based upon principles designed to produce a specific result. So start with why. First comes the principle, then comes the process. First comes the principle, then comes the process. First comes the principle, then comes the process, then comes the strategy. The strategy is the most effective and efficient way to execute the process based upon the principles that govern the success of my business. So it's the most effective and efficient way, right, to execute the process. It is designed to produce a specific result in my life or in my business based upon principles. So when we talk about strategy, we're really talking about the when and the where. And I'm going to show y'all how to use this in just a second. Just write it down, because I'm going to show you how to deploy it in your life. It's one thing for people to sound smart and all that kind of good stuff. It's another ballgame to be able to use what they're telling you. So right. Strategy represents the when and the where. If I sell candles, right, I know the process of selling candles. I know why making candles works. I know the principles. I know everything, right? If I try to sell candles in Antarctica, where they have daylight for 6 months, it ain't gonna work. So part of my strategy is knowing when should I sell candles, probably when people's lights go out. So when do people's lights mostly go out? During hurricanes, tornadoes, right? So probably gonna be selling them when? During hurricane season. Doing what? Tornado season, right? Doing thunderstorm season, right? That kind of, because there's seasons for that, right? So my job as a candle maker is to know when is the most opportune time for me to execute the processes in my business that produce a specific result that's based upon the principles that govern the success that I'm seeking. Don't worry, y'all gonna have to rewind this back. Y'all gonna have to replay this back. So don't worry about that, right? Now, rewind it back, right? You're gonna get some bonuses because Candace is gonna hook y'all up, and you're gonna get a chance to watch this and replay this and all that kind of good stuff. Now, so that's the when. But then also you got to deal with the when. So where's the best place for me to sell candles? I'm probably going to be selling candles in a place where I know they're going to get hurricanes every year. So I'm going to the Caribbean. I'm going to Panama. I'm going to a place where I know every year they're getting some hurricanes, right? And they get a lot of them. They even it's called hurricane season. We got fall, winter, spring here, all that kind of good stuff. They got a season. It's called what? Hurricane season. So now I have the most effective and efficient way to execute the process. Effective just means it's got to work. Efficient means basically you got to do it. It don't take 5 people to screw in a light bulb, right? So in its simplest form, it represents the when and the where. And then last is the A. So we got the PPSA. Last is the action. So first comes the principle, then comes the process, then comes the strategy, and last comes the action. The action is that which is necessary to strategically execute the processes in my life and in my business based upon principles that produce success, right? So all it is that which is necessary to execute. In its simplest form, action just represents the what. It's just the what. It's just the what, right? Now watch this. Whenever you listen to somebody talk, you should have a sheet of paper and you should have 4 rows. One row should say principle. Another row should say process. Another row should say strategy. Another row should say action. And when you listening to the person talk are the things that they telling you, whether you're talking to your coach, your pastor, it don't matter. Whether you listen to a YouTube video, the things that they're saying that are principles, right? It's the why you're doing it, right? You want to put that in that column. Things that are related to the process, this is how you do it, right? Then you want to put it in that column. Things that are related to the when and the where, the process, the strategy, you want to put it in that column. Things that are action-oriented, things that they want you to do. Swipe your credit card, go here, download this, put that in the action column, right? All those are action-oriented things. Now here's the breakdown. Powerful people ask powerful questions. When I'm listening to a speaker talk, if they tell me, okay, this is the process and this is the action, I know I'm missing the principle and the strategy. So I got my hand up. Yes, I love this process. I love this process. Could you kind of help me understand the principles that govern making this process work? I'm asking a question related to the principle. Or if they tell me the principle and they tell me the process, I might say, hey, by the way, what's the best time to execute this process? Where should I execute this process at? And what's my first action that I should take? My questions are related to what's missing in my decision-making matrix. PPSA is a decision-making matrix that all entrepreneurs have to learn, right? Now, here's the thing. I don't execute it. If somebody tells you how to do something, but they can't tell you why they're doing it, it means that which they are teaching you doesn't belong to them. It belongs to somebody else. You need to find the master, right? I'm just telling you, right? Because they don't even know why they're doing what they do works. And basically that means that they have not gone beyond learning the principles that govern it, right? So the other thing is, it occurred to me, Constance, why people were having such struggles. A lot of times in the personal and professional development space, we like to teach people how, the process, and then we like to jump them over strategy and teach them, okay, this is the action I want you to take. Sign up for my program, buy this, get my book, right? And whatever it is, right? And we teach them the how and we teach them the what, but we never taught them the why and we never taught them the when and the where. And so inevitably, they're going to meet failure. And so in order for you to be successful as any type of entrepreneur, new entrepreneur, old school entrepreneur, last year entrepreneur, mompreneur, dadpreneur, I think some of y'all gonna be transitionpreneurs as y'all transition from employee to entrepreneur, right? But no matter what kind of entrepreneur you are, you have to have a decision-making matrix, right? PPSA, principle, process, strategy, action. Why? Because the formula is D plus D equals D. A decision, right, plus discipline, right, equals what? Dominion. And so we talked about the discipline side, but now we're talking about this decision side. What is your decision-making matrix? So this kind of gives you just a teeny little bit of insight because there's so many, man, entrepreneurship can be sexy as hell. I mean, it just is, right? You know what I mean? You get to put CEO on your cards. You get to say, I'm the head honcho. You know what I mean? You get office, desk, business cards, sexy, right? But
all that don't mean you don't meet revenue though.
Yeah, and we get to do all this fun stuff. The fun stuff is cool. I want to do the marketing. Let me get my social media page up. You got my logo ready? Logos don't make money, right?
Right.
So, what you want to do is you want to start doing some of the non-sexy stuff. And then let me go ahead and say this because we said some 5 tips for some entrepreneurs. I'm gonna give you one more final tip that I think all new entrepreneurs need to know. Write this down. This is like the big one, right? This is the big one. It's like Fred Sanford. We said, Elizabeth, this is the big one. I'm coming to join you. I'm coming to join you, right? See, some of y'all that don't know about Fred Sanford, he is the original Black entrepreneur, right? Fred Sanford, right? Go ahead and look that up, Sanford. Right? They need to put him in the history books, right? But by the way, perfect example. I'm taking what he has and making it profitable. He took what somebody called junk and made it his business, right? But here's the thing I'm gonna tell you, write this down. A sale a day keeps the bill collectors away. A sale a day keeps the bill collectors away. As an entrepreneur, you gotta try to make a sale a day. A sale a day keeps the what? Bill collectors away, right? Now, sometimes you're making that sale by phone, that's cool. Sometimes you're making that sale face to face, that's cool. Sometimes these days you're making that sale by video, that's cool, right? But ain't nothing like when you're doing that sale by automation, right? And so what I would encourage everybody to start doing, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you sell beads, I don't care if you sell baskets, I don't care if you sell Easter, I don't care what you sell. You need to put an automated process in place that turns somebody's interest into your lead, turn that lead into your prospect, and turn that prospect into your customer or your client, and then turn that customer or client into repeat business and referral business. Right?
Okay, so hold on. So we talking business. So a lot of people they have an idea, right?
Mhm.
They have a something that maybe is God-given, maybe they've seen something, maybe they want to do retail, maybe they want to, I don't know, but they have an idea. And so you were saying that the best way is to figure out how to automate this, right? So that they can do more, make more, they can really customize their business so that they don't have to, they can work smarter and not harder. Is that what you're saying? So how do they
That
do
is
this,
what I'm
Trevor?
saying, but I need to add one caveat. Let's just start
Mhm.
let's just start with the person who just got an idea. As soon as you get an idea, the first thing you got to do is brand the idea.
That's right.
Brand the idea. I don't care whether you think it's great or not, brand the idea. Branding is how people assess value in the products and services that you offer, right?
Mm.
Everything with your business begins with your brand.
Mhm.
Everything with your business begins with your brand. You got an idea, brand it. You thought something
Because
up,
what's an idea if it's just in your brain? It ain't nothing.
yep. And because your brand is how you introduce your ideas to the world,
That's
right?
right.
And with your brand, I
Okay.
want everybody
Stay,
write this.
wait. Let me stay right there really quick. So when you get an idea, what is the first thing that you do? Let me see if this is the first thing I
Oh,
do.
I
When
brand
you
it.
get an idea, huh?
When I get an idea, I brand it immediately. First
Wait,
thing I do is
what's
I
the
buy the
first thing you
domain.
do when you brand it?
I go
Buy the
to
domain.
I
Boom,
go
me
to
too.
Instant Domain
First thing I get an idea,
and I
I
buy the
buy
domain.
that domain. I got about 100 domains in GoDaddy right now.
I buy the domain. Then the next thing I do is I go over to my graphics team to start helping them to start them creating a visual representation of what that brand is going to look like in the marketplace. Now,
Okay, so
let
I
me do
want you to
this.
stay right there. Because your design team is top of the line. And I've seen firsthand, because I use your graphics team as well with some of my things.
Mhm.
I've seen firsthand the quality of work that comes out of the graphics team. Is this open to the public? Can everybody do this?
It is. We have opened it up to the public. It's called the Black CEO Graphics Club. So if you type in blackceographicsclub.com, blackceographicsclub.com, you can go there and get signed up today. Now I'm gonna do something even more special.
Wait. You gotta be black to do this.
It's just called the Black CEO Graphics Club because
Okay,
they're
I
black
just want to make sure
CEOs.
you don't gotta be black. You don't
No,
gotta be black to use your
you can be
graphics.
yellow, you can be green, you
Okay.
can be, you know what I mean? You can be an entrepreneur that wants to get their business into the black. See? Right? But if you go to
Okay.
blackceographicsclub.com, you'll be able to get signed up, and we'll do you even one better. One of the things I want to do for everybody today, because I believe some people out there that got some ideas right now. And I would say what we're going to do is everybody who wants to get started today, you can start for $1 for the first 7 days. How much did I say? $1 for the first 7 days. And if you
You get
decide
graphics?
to, yep, because I think that I think
Write
that
that
a
in the
lot of
comments. $1. I don't pay $1, so
oh, I
that's
know
a
you
great
don't.
deal.
For the first 7 days. For the
Yeah.
first 7 days. But
Oh, y'all better take advantage.
because they got ideas that need to be branded. And then
Yeah.
if you speak on something, you got to brand your presentation, right? The branding is how people assess value in the products and services that you offer, right? And so let me use as an example, right? And then I'm gonna come back to Graphics Club. I go to the Chinese food store and I get some orange chicken. It's probably cost me about $10.99. They're gonna give me a box of white rice. They're gonna give me another little white box with some orange chicken in it. They're gonna give me some plastic utensils, not inside the plastic. They're gonna give me 2 napkins, because 3 would just be a crime, right? And they're gonna give me a white plastic bag that I can see all the way through. Basically, if they put one more fork in it, it might break the bag, right? But for my little $10.99, I'm happy I go home. I know it ain't gonna cost me more than $10.99 because I can look at the food and be like, okay. But sometimes I go to PF Chang's. They don't call theirs orange chicken. They call theirs Mandarin chicken, right? They put theirs in big black boxes, and they give you chopsticks and special wrapping, and then they give you a black paper bag with the logo on it and paper handles, and for the pleasure of their brand, I get to pay $40 for their version of orange chicken. Because branding is how people assess value in the products and services that you offer. And see, the reason why a lot of people don't want to pay you.
Wait, Trevor. I know this. You talk really fast, but I need them to hear that.
Slow me down.
Because that was it right there. Branding is what?
How people assess value in the products and services that you offer. And oftentimes, the first interaction with your brand is your graphics. Mm-hmm. If your stuff look bootleg, they're gonna want to pay bootleg prices, right? They're gonna want 2 DVDs, 2 for $25, right? Because your brand look like you selling products and services out the back of your trunk.
Right.
So so the first investment that I think every entrepreneur should make, I'm serious. The first investment that every entrepreneur should make is really in how they visually show up in the marketplace. I'm telling you this right now. Your visual, your aesthetics is everything. Your PowerPoints, your logos, your website, that's all design work, right? And so, matter of fact, what you can do today is, for those people who want to do the $1 offer, you can text me at 240-731-6646. 240.
Cell number, y'all.
Yeah, I'm giving it out because they on here. 240-731-6646. Just say, Trevor, I need the $1 deal. I'll send it to you. Right?
Yeah.
Listen. If you ain't send that the day when you was launching it, don't worry about sending it. Right? It's $1. Right? Let me tell you something. You got to invest in yourself at the level at which you expect results. Period. Right. Point blank. Second rule is that don't eat your seed. Right? In times of struggle, right? In times of drought, don't eat your seed. Plant your seed, right? So you take your seed and you plant it. Because if you eat your seed, you'll be full today and starve tomorrow. If you hold on to your seed, you're going to be hungry today and starve tomorrow. But if you plant your seed, you'll be hungry today, but you'll eat forever. Ooh. And so at the end of the day, you got to start planting your seed. And a seed that gets planted develops roots, right? Am I struggling in business right now? Hell no, because I got roots, right? I started planting my seed a long time ago. And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm planting more seeds because in times of struggle, right? In times of drought, plant your seed. Plant the seed. Do you know things are going to be tough? Yes. But that's the time when you start investing. That's the time when you start investing in your business, investing in your dreams. That's when, as Will Smith would say, that's when it's time to get jiggy, right? Now, back to your brand.
Wait. I want to talk about that really quick though, and we're gonna go back to the brand. But I think a lot of people and I've heard personally, a lot of people are having panic and fear right now because of I talked about it on my sales call this morning with my agents. We were just talking about the mental strain that what's going on is having, and I just wanted to check in and make sure everybody was mentally okay. But I think that it's also important that people understand and they know how to they could be focused on other things, because some people are saying I'm just having a really hard time because I don't have control. I can't go outside when I want to. I can't do the things that I want to do. And so right now there are so many things that we could be doing to build our business.
Can I give an affirmation there?
Please.
Fear and faith require the same ingredient to become active in your life.
Fear and faith require the same
ingredient to become active in your life. And you know what that ingredient is? Belief. So some of y'all are activating your fears by believing in it. And some of y'all are failing because you believe in your failure. Belief is an activator of failure and success. right? Because fear and faith require the same ingredient to become active in your life. And what you have to do is you have to be careful not to activate your fears, because you're actually starting to you're giving fuel to the fire, right? And so what you have to do is let me tell you something I started doing right when the pandemic started. After the first week, I started cutting the news off. I go online, check to see what the latest update is, what the rules is. Don't go outside, stay inside, whatever it is they tell me to do. But first thing I do, let me cut this news off, because basically, let me tell you something. CNN is the best hype man I ever seen in life.
Man, CNN right now will have you thinking it's the Armageddon right now.
Man, right. I was like, man, they got the ultimate hype man, boy.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying, just to single CNN out, all the news channels are doing the same thing, but we have to be careful, because belief is an activator of failure and success. And you can activate your failure just like you can activate your success, right? So you just got to be careful about the fears, right? For entrepreneurs, you should be happy, because basically
incubation season, baby. Incubation right now.
Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. I'm calling people saying, look, I call them straight up and say, look, I know this is what you normally set it for, but these are different kind of times. What can you do? You got any specials? You got any deals?
There we go.
Look, a perfect example. Look, right now, y'all getting a chance to sign up for Graphics Club for $1 for the first 7 days, right? We in the middle of a pandemic.
I don't have the dollar. I don't have the dollar one. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day,
let me just I'm sorry, let me just show them an example. So this slide, that's an example of your graphics. And I mean, but some of the best graphics that I've seen have come out of your graphics club. Some of the I'm not just saying that. Some of the best graphics that I've seen have come out of your graphics club.
And we try to pride ourselves, like, on how things look aesthetically. Because what we know is that people are making judgment calls instantaneously about what the value of your product or service is, and I will tell everybody, like,
no, who's not, right? Because I know if I go somewhere and I see somebody's stuff looking janky and bootleg, I'm definitely not going to want to do business. Like, that's your billboard. Your brand is your walking billboard. So how you taught me that? Huh?
One time I was at a real estate conference, and I think it was the one we was in San Diego, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't put that much effort into my order form, right? It was just like it looked like I ran that thing off on a ditto machine. For those who
not a ditto,
a ditto machine, right? And so the lady was like, I believe in what you're doing, Trevor, but I don't want to put my credit card. She had an American Express. She was like, I do not want to put my credit card on that sheet of paper, because it looked janky. Right. The next time I put some effort into my order form. I made it look like something, look like you could trust it. And then I saw that same lady. She filled the order form out, no questions asked. That first time she did not fill it out. Right. And we, to this day, her and I still laugh about it. Right. And so what happens is, what a lot of times is that we don't realize that we are creating a barrier to purchasing in between us and the client. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Don't y'all believe that people ain't buying. They might not be buying from you, but people are buying.
That's right.
Okay. They
still
are buying. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, this is an excellent opportunity to get some stuff finished. I think you start with your graphics, and then the second thing I think you move over to is I think you move into your technology, which is how you're going to now take what you've been developing visually and now start to place it into an online environment that causes people to access it, because your technology is how people access the products and services that you offer in a visually and aesthetically pleasing way online. So when we're talking about a squeeze page or a landing page, don't get so caught up in the words of click funnels and my funnels and whatever funnel. You just need a visually pleasing or aesthetically pleasing way for people to access or learn about the products or services that you offer in an online environment. It would be just like if you had a retail store, you would have to have a way for them to access and see your product. Like, matter of fact, let me use as an example. We got Walmart. I know y'all got Walmart there. This might be a little bit a stretch for an example, y'all, but we got Walmarts in the hood, and then we got Walmarts in the good neighborhoods. You know, a brother was raised in the hood, so I've still been in the hood a few times, right? Now, if you go to Walmart in the hood, you don't want to go to Walmart in the hood. You want to know why? Because the shelves going to be messy. The stuff going to be in the floor. It's messy, right? So you don't want to go to the Walmart in the hood. You go to the Walmart in the good neighborhood, right? Walmart, if you're listening, tell them to clean the shelves up. But you go to Walmart in the good neighborhoods, everything's all neat, aisles are clean, right?
That's true.
They have presented their products in a visually and aesthetically pleasing way that makes you A, want to come back to the store, and B, buy a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't even go in there for to begin with. When your stuff is set up aesthetically pleasing, matter of fact, we just finished doing somebody's automation sequence. Her name is Dr. Sonia Scribbling, right? And I think everybody should look at her sequence. You can, matter of fact, go to freepowerimage.com. Don't do it now. freepowerimage.com. That's singular. Look at how her pages are set up. Look at the visually aesthetic way that thing is flowing. Black CEO Graphics Club and the Tech Club did that, right? They didn't just design the page. They also placed the page online in an aesthetically pleasing way so that she could present her products and services.
They did the whole squeeze page? Did they do a squeeze page or
they did the whole thing.
website?
All the squeeze pages, all of the landing pages. They put it in ClickFunnels. They handled the integrations. They did the whole thing, right? And let me use as an example. In 4 days, she did 2,922 registrations for a webinar.
Wow.
Now, you don't know too many people that do about 3,000 registrations for a webinar in 4 days. You know, we ain't talking about Tony Robbins. We talking about the entrepreneur just like you that's out there and building their business. And part of what created that is when you spend all of that energy to get somebody to visit your business in an online space, the last thing you want to do is disappoint them by showing up as less than what you actually are. Branding is how people assess values in the products and services that you offer. So you use your graphics to affect your brand, because branding is how people decide how much to pay you. Simple as that. So you want people to pay you a little bit of money? See, let me tell you something. If you feel overworked and underpaid, you got a branding problem. If you feel not enough people know what you do, right, then you got a marketing problem. Right. And so, and if you just find people ain't buying from you, period, you got a sales problem. So you got to start, and you're like, well, where do I start from, Trevor? I got all the problems. If you got all the problems, start with your brand. And I'm going to do something special. Some of y'all are listening there right now, and you know you got a branding problem. So what you can do is you can call me. Don't call me. You text me, and I'm going to send you a link so we can meet. Don't call me. You got my cell phone number. I gave you 240-731-6646. I hope you had a pen, because note takers are money makers. If you didn't have a pen, woe be unto you. Next time, get a pen or a keyboard, right? 240-731-6646. Now, here's the thing I want to tell you about branding, right? Is that, write this down, everybody, because this is for my people in the ideation phase. Because some of y'all got some ideas. Y'all been in the pandemic, and you be like, man, I got some ideas. You got ideas flowing out your ears. So I'm tell you what to do. Embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. Embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. So the key to a good brand is naming it correctly to begin with. Now, let me use that as an example. I went to Mission Barbecue, and I got some shredded chicken. And they kind of give you this shredded chicken on a bun, and then you go sit down at the table. It's kind of a cool little restaurant. And when you sit at the table, they got two sauces. One says hot and one says sweet and sassy. I chose the sweet and sassy and I put it on my chicken. But when I tasted my chicken, it was hot because somebody named it incorrectly. So what am I telling you? When you name something outside of its purpose, you're going to always cause it to be misused. So you know what I'm telling you? Don't get cute, right? It's better to be clear. Write this down. People buy clarity because confusion is costly. So some of y'all get these cute names, don't nobody know what it is.
Right.
Right. And unless
or even their logos. Their logo has nothing to do with the business. It's a flower.
Right.
Okay, what does that mean to your business?
Yeah, they be having these weird names, and they be like, "This is my daughter's name." I appreciate that that's your daughter's name, but don't nobody know what your brand does, right? So
Have no
don't
idea.
get cute, right?
Right.
People buy clarity,
And keep it
confusion.
simple,
Yeah. So
right?
come up with your brand name that gives
Your name is
person
serendipity. Well, what does that mean? Well, you're
right,
what, right? I don't know.
right. So let's say if I do, let's just say I'm a branding specialist, right? I wouldn't call it serendipity branding. I might be calling it IDoBigBrands.com or IDoBrands.com or I do
It's
women's
simple.
brand. Yeah, but it's simple as you can make it, but always remember that unless you got big bank, let me use that word for those people, I'm gonna keep it real. So for those people, if you got an MBA, this ain't the call for you, right? If you got big bank, right, then you can pay enough money to teach the world what your brand is about.
Right.
But if you over here in small business world, which is the SBA defines as $5 million and under, right, then you can't waste money on trying to educate the world about what your brand does, right? You need that money to start bringing in clients who already know what your brand does because your name was clear. Because embedded in the name of everything is purpose, right? So when you name something outside of its purpose, you'll cause it to always be misused.
Right.
In addition to that, right, when you're dealing with the brand, remember your brand is your promise to the world for the difference that you're going to make in their individual lives. So when you're doing your brand, the next thing you got to say to yourself is, what is my promise to the person who comes in contact with that brand? What's your promise to the world? What's your promise to that person? What's your promise to that individual? Because your brand is how people assess values in the products and services that you offer. Embedded in the name of every brand is its purpose, right? Or embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. So you got to write that down, right? And then that third thing is your brand is your promise, right? So when you think about your brand, the question is, what's your promise? What is your promise? Then, last but not least, dare to be disruptive. Matter of fact, dare to be defiantly disruptive. Because with your brand, every brand has to have a movement. And the movement is really nothing more than the concept or the idea that people rally together around. Apple creates a movement every time they launch a new product, right? So dare to be defiantly different, right? Dare to be defiantly different. Because every brand must have a movement, but every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive, and it's a disruptive moments within your movement that give it momentum. I'll say that slower. Every brand must have a movement. Every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive, and it's a disruptive moments within your movement that give it momentum. So if your brand is stale, like that bread that's sitting on the counter, right? If your brand is stale, it's because it ain't got no movement. If you got a good brand, but it is being kind of down on the vine, because you ain't got no movement. Because every brand must have a movement, and every movement must have a moment, a dispensation of time where they have heightened relevancy. Every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive. Disruptive is challenging the norm, challenging what your customers normally think, challenging what your customers normally say, challenging what your customers normally do. Every brand has to be disruptive, challenging what you normally think, challenging what you normally say, challenging what you normally do. Every brand has to be disruptive. Challenge what the industry normally says. Challenge what the industry normally thinks. Right? Challenge what the industry normally does. Dare to be defiantly different. Every brand must have a movement, and every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive, and it's the disruptive moments within your movement that give it momentum. If your brand ain't going nowhere, it's because it ain't got no movement. And if you
Put some
ain't got
legs
no
on it.
movement, yeah, it's gotta be disruptive, right? And so you got to find your POD. All my new entrepreneurs out there, you ain't got to get it right. You just got to get it going, right? Done is better than perfect. But I will
Done is
tell
better
you
than
this,
perfect.
right? You got to find I'll give you another D. We don't talk about decisions and discipline and disruption, right? But what you got to do is you got to be defiantly different. You got to find your POD, your point of disruption. So you new in the entrepreneurship space, right? But rarely is the product or service that you provide going to be unique, but how you position it in the mind of the client makes it unique to them. That's the brand. Rarely is the product or service that you provide going to be unique, but how you position it in the mind of the client makes it unique to them. That's the brand. Every business has to have a brand. That brand has to have a movement. That brand has to find its POD, its point of disruption. If you're not willing to be disruptive in the marketplace, right, you're going to really have some problems, right? So what's your POD? Now, here's how you find your POD. Okay, powerful people ask powerful questions. What is disruption? Challenging what your customers normally think, say, or do. So what do they normally think, say, or do? How are you going to challenge that? Challenging what you normally think, challenging what you normally think, say, or do. How you going to challenge that? And then challenging what the industry normally thinks, says, or do, and then asking yourself how you want to challenge that. Once you know the challenge in all three of those areas, you are ready to introduce your brand to the marketplace. Now, if you are having a problem finding your point of disruption, if you are having a problem is finding the right name, now it's time to talk to a branding expert. Now it's time to talk to a branding specialist, because now you're going into the situation with a clearer understanding of what you're trying to do. You're trying to define that brand promise. You're trying to define its disruption in the marketplace. You are naming according to the purpose related to that brand. And now you're starting to get into the deeper points of branding beyond just a logo and a color scheme.
See, okay, so let me stop you right there, because this is the kind of teaching that I've sat under when I go to different places all over the country when I'm just being a student, understanding what the point of view is, understanding creating a momentum and a movement, understanding brand promise. That's huge. And that's the reason, like going back to Catalyst, right? Catalyst, I didn't name my company Constance Carter Realty. I named my company Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. Why? Because a catalyst is a change agent, an agent that causes disruption, an agent that causes significant change. I wanted our agents to be change agents, not your normal agents that were just, helping people buy and sell houses. Not transactional, but transformational. It's just deeper than just having a name. It wasn't about, so this is so important to being able to create your movement and having people buy into your movement. That's who they are. That's what they're here to do. And that's why they're different. This is the teaching. This is the reason why.
Here's the thing I would say kind of in closing is that entrepreneurs, we got egos, and egos is the fastest way to go broke. I'm telling you. And I want you to write this down. I'm not for sure who this is for, but I know it's for somebody out there. Sometimes your vulnerability goes before the victory, right? Sometimes your vulnerability precedes the victory. And sometimes you just got to be vulnerable and transparent enough to ask for the help you need. Just bottom line. And so I know some people watching today, and you putting up the good faith, you got the stiff upper lip. People rock with you. They don't really know what's going on with you, but I challenge you to be a little bolder, a little bit more transparent and vulnerable, and just go into the chat and just say, hey, this is the area that I need help in, right? Because here's the thing. See, there's a principle in play here. See, I'm here because I love y'all. I'm here because I love being an entrepreneur. I'm here because I love branding. I'm here because I love entrepreneurship. I love automation, right? I love Canvas, right? I love who y'all be as entrepreneurs, right?
Constance,
I'm sorry, Constance Carter. Constance Carter, nobody else works harder, right?
Everybody calls me Candace. No, don't worry about it.
No, but I get it wrong because I see so many Constances and Candaces in the world. But Constance Carter, nobody works harder, right? But there's a principle at play here, and I want everybody to write this down. Wherever love shows up, success is on the way. Wherever love shows up, success is on the way. We've all heard this. We've all heard the thing. We've all heard the scripture that says, love never fails. Great. What does that mean? It means that wherever love shows up, success is on the way. So what happens is when the love that you have for what you do, the love that you have for the people that you serve, the love that you have for the purpose that was birthed into you, when your love shows up, your success is on the way. See, the reason why I know your success is on the way is because Constance put this on because she loves y'all, right? I know that your success is on the way because I'm here. And I'm here because I love y'all. See, wherever love shows up, your success is on the way, right? And so what you have to do is you have to love yourself enough to basically allow the success that you've been seeking to show up. And so you got to love your purpose. You got to love why you're here. So even in this moment of vulnerability where you're putting into the group and you're being transparent, you ain't being transparent because I'm asking you, you're being transparent because you love yourself enough to get the help that you need. Straight up. Bottom line, right? Because sometimes vulnerability precedes the victory, right? And so, you know, just like pride comes before the fall, vulnerability usually comes before the victory, right? And so here's the thing, you know, if you don't love what you do as an entrepreneur, don't do it. Because wherever love shows up, your success is on the way. So how do I, that's a principle. I ain't make it up. It's just, so if you love what you do, you love who you be, you love why you do it. Wherever love shows up, you got to know that your success is on the way. And so some results happen overnight, some results happen over time, but what? Regardless, I'll be what? Just fine. And so think about it like this, right? When we're talking about principles, because you're seeing me deploy several principles simultaneously to help you with your business. Man, Constance, I was when I was in college, I went to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and I had this biggest crush on this girl. I won't say her name because she might be watching, right? and let's just say Michelle. We'll just give her a fake name, right? And I had a crush on her, and then I eventually started dating her, and she became my girlfriend. And during that first year, her birthday was coming up, and I wanted to impress her, right? So one day I was at the Cheesecake Factory at Baltimore Harbor, and I saw all of these cheesecakes in the, like when you came into the restaurant, they had the cheesecake kind of up front so you could see all the cheesecake that they sold. And I said, man, when her birthday comes, I'm gonna get that cheesecake, right? And it was like this 7-layer like cheesecake. And I was like, I'm gonna buy that. Well, her birthday came, and about a week before her birthday, I went up to the Cheesecake Factory at the Baltimore Harbor, and I was trying to get that 7-layer cake, right? It was a tall cake. So basically, when they gave me the price, that's when I realized that Michelle was not going to get that 7-layer cake. So I was innovative. And so I went to the grocery store in my area, it's called Giants. And when I got to the grocery store, I went into the grocery store and I said, okay, well, obviously I can bake this cake myself. So I asked the lady inside of Giants, I said, hey, where are the tall cake pans? The lady looked at me kind of weird, but then she pointed me to, well, the cake pans are like aisle 8. So I went over to aisle 8 looking for the tall cake pans. I ain't see the tall cake pans. I saw these little cake pans. But I looked to the right and I saw this big pot, which I now know was a crab pot. But at the time, I thought it was a tall cake pan. So I get the tall cake pan. So then I saw the lady again and I asked her for where the tall cake mixes are. So she pointed me to the aisle with the tall cake mixes. When I got to the cake mix aisle, I saw all the cake mixes and I said, okay, I didn't see anything for like 7-layer cakes or tall cakes or 5-layer cakes, not even 3-layer cakes. So they should have 3-layer cake mix, but they didn't. So I said, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm about 4 boxes of cake mix, right? And I'm a quadruple basically the recipe. So I get like 2 dozen eggs, flour, I get all this stuff. I get home and I put it all in the big pot. And then I had this little short wooden spoon that I realized was not deep enough to mix all this batter. So I went and got a plastic glove and started mixing all of the stuff in the tall cake pan. So I figured I was ready to go. So then what I did was I took the tall cake pan that I had mixed up and all the batter stuff, and I tried to put it in the oven. But of course, the oven wasn't big enough. So I had to take the row out, take out the little row and set it down just a little bit, take out the little grill and put it down. And then I put the tall cake pan in there, right? And I started waiting for the cake to bake because I wanted a tall cake, right? Because I was going to impress Michelle. Well, after about 45 minutes, man, that fire alarm started going off in our apartment, beep, 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 and smoke is everywhere and things like that. And so I get the tall cake pan out and I look at it and I, punch a little hole in to see if it's done, and all this batter just starts oozing out. Needless to say, the tall cake pan was a failure. So like any good son, what I do is I call my mama and I say, Mom, I tried to cook a tall cake for Michelle and it came out messy. And then my mother, that's when your mother said, you know, I can't say the kind of things that my mother said online, but it was not pretty, right? And so the moral of the story is when you see a tall cake, right? Oftentimes what you see is a tall cake that has icing on it and it's dressed up and it's real pretty, but underneath that tall cake is several layers.
Mm.
And when you see successful people, you might see outwardly what they have done, but understand that there's several layers that make up that success. And your success as an entrepreneur has a lot to do with your ability to apply several principles simultaneously.
Right.
Not just one principle, but your ability to apply several principles simultaneously. So my biggest advice to everybody out there right now is learn how to study with a master. Start studying with a master. Go beyond expert and start to study with masters like Constance, like George Frazier, like Myron Golden, like Andy Henriquez, like
Trevor Otts.
there's so many experts out there. Amy Walker, the Allison Berger. Start to study with a master. And when you study with a master, they are not just teaching you process and telling you to take an action. They are simultaneously utilizing several principles, right, in order to produce the success that you're looking for. And so they won't just teach you the process, they'll teach you the principle, because first comes the principle and then comes the process. And so success is like a 7-layer cake, which is you might not see all of the layers that made that cake up, but understand that they are multiple layers. So one, I want to applaud you, Constance, for putting together the co-working spot, right? The spot,
yes.
Right?
Yes, the spot.
Also, the spot up in this joint, right?
Yes.
You got then you got the Catalyst real estate, and then you got your personal brand, right?
Yeah.
Which Constance called Nobody Works Harder. And then you also got your wealth brand for people that are looking to learn how to produce wealth by working with what they have, because the opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. And a person that learns to develop their resources will never be poor. And so if you have not connected with Constance as it pertains to her wealth trainings, right, which is principally based, and then they teach you the processes necessary to execute those principles, and then they give you the strategies so you know when and where to execute those wealth principles, and then they tell you what to do. Right.
There you go.
So when it comes down to that, these are the type of masters that you want to get with. Anytime you start dealing with masters, just think of it, we all saw Karate Kid. What did he say? Karate Kid got his butt kicked. Ralph Macchio got his butt kicked. He said, "Oh, I got my eye black. You got to teach me how to fight, Mr. Miyagi." He said, "Oh, teach me how to fight." Mr. Miyagi was like, No, I ain't about to teach you how to fight. What I'm gonna teach you is the principle. Wax on, what? And wax off. And then wax on, and then wax off, right? Paint the fence up, and then paint the fence down, right? They learn the stalking crane and all that kind of stuff. And he taught them all of these different things. And then when it finally came time for him to fight, he was subconsciously, right, or unconsciously accessing the principles that he was taught from the very beginning of when Mr. Miyagi started teaching him. And so it made it very easy for him to strategically access the processes that produce the specific result that caused him to be successful as a fighter. And that's what you got to do too.
Yeah.
You got to fight through your frustration, and on the opposite side of your frustration is your fortune. And the way that you fight through your frustration is by learning the principles that govern the success that you see. So don't just choose to work with a marketing expert, work with a marketing master. Don't just choose to work with a branding expert, work with a branding master. Don't just choose to work with a wealth expert, work with a wealth master. Right? You people who have mastered the principles, start asking the question that Simon Sinek put in that book. Start with why.
All right. Listen, you guys, so we still have a lot of people on, and a lot of folks sharing the information. And again, this is straight workshop information. This is what you sit down with your pen and paper. This is teaching. This is applied learning. And Trevor knocks it out every single time. So if you just wanted some motivation and inspiration, I hope you guys ain't just listening. I hope you actually took notes. I hope you rewind. I'm actually, because we've had about 8 different lives go on and off, and I have it all on one. And I'm gonna put this back on and replay because I want you guys to hear it all the way through without interruptions, because this right here, if you apply these principles about your branding, starting with why, all of the techniques and the tools that Trevor has displayed today, you will actually go from ideation to execution into your next level. During this season, with us being on lockdown, with us being in incubation, it's so important that we go from incubation and we come out of incubation with manifestation. And at the end, we should be able to manifest something. May not be millions, but it's something. And that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of the lives with the real talks with all of these experts that I personally do business with. One of the things that I want you guys to do is, the reason why I wrote an ebook a couple of weeks ago, I released an ebook. It's called 7 Online Revenue Streams to Fund Your $1 Million Dreams. Why did I do that? Because the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 11:2 that you should have 7 revenue streams in the event of, in case that a disaster strikes the land. What's going on right now? A disaster has stricken the land. And so you have people right here that are at your fingertips, resources like Trevor Otts, resources like George Frazier, resources like Susie Carter, and all the people that we're going to be bringing on this week. They're going to be giving you the information and the nuggets, and it's up to you to apply. But you got to be willing to invest in yourself. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. Now, Trevor just gave you access to top-notch graphics because you are my friends for $1. Now, I do not pay $1. I am in the graphics club. I do not pay $1 for their graphics, and he's giving this to you. So if you definitely need to take advantage of this. Do you have anything else? Any other freebies you're throwing out there, Trevor? For my folks?
That's the only freebie for the day. That's the only freebie for the day. Right.
I also want you to follow him. I also want you to follow Black CEO, whether you're black, white, purple, gray, whatever. I want you to follow Black CEO because they're doing some amazing things. And we're getting ready to release the 24 hour of power. Can you tell a little bit about that, Trevor?
Yep, we have an event coming up called 24 Hours of Entrepreneurship.
Oh, yeah. 24 hours of entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, yep.
What are we doing?
Because I think entrepreneurship is needed today more than ever. I think people are going to find themselves in unfamiliar territory. And instead of leaning on the government, it may be time for you to lean on your own talents, your own gifts, your own skill set, that thing that's been inside you, that's been bubbling to the surface. And
alignment. This is so people who are successful, they know this. We speak in the same language, and we ain't even talked about this.
Yep. And in the words of the great philosopher Constance Carter, right? If they close the door, buy the building.
That part. No.
Buy the building.
If they close the door, buy the building. It is not a game out here. And so Trevor is not only, I'll be a part of the 24 hours of entrepreneurship. Are you still taking speakers?
Yep. So if you are a speaker and you have something to add to the to conversation and you want to train, you can go to championsinterview.com. You can go to championsinterview.com. We're still interviewing speakers. And one thing about the 24 hours of entrepreneurship event, one is going to be a 24-hour live stream. In addition to
wait. Because I got to tell them the story real quick. Now, when they talk about 24 hours of he's really serious. These men don't sleep. And I'm going to tell y'all a story real quick, because a few years ago, when we released this book called One, me, Tanasha, and Sheila, we flew to Baltimore, Maryland. These brothers, Trevor and Shay, they had us working from, I think, 6 o'clock in the morning to about 4 o'clock in the morning. We did photo shoots, we did podcasts, we did interviews, we did media. When you work with these men, y'all work like I'm 25. I don't even know how you do it, because I know you in your 40s, because I'm in my 40s. But I don't even know how. I know we was tired. I know our eyes was red. And this man, mad scientist, just ideas just flowing from his thing. Okay, let's do it. And we just had to get up and do it. But Trevor, when he talks about 24 hours, Shay, I spoke at Shay, his partner. He had a closed conference.
The closed conference.
Okay, all day, all nonstop, 3 days, 24 hours. No, well, it wasn't 24 hours, but it was at least about 16 hours.
Yeah,
It's
it
not,
went about 16 hours a day.
yeah, easily. It is not a game. They do not play. But I love it because the energy and what comes out of that genius is absolutely phenomenal. So these are the people that you need to be playing with on your playground. You need to have them in your arsenal. You need to be connected with them. You need to follow them. You need to study under them. You need to get coaching from them. I've done all of that. I am my biggest investment. I'm a sure thing. I bet on me. And so when I bet on me, I'm betting on people who I know that's going to take me to the next level. And Trevor, Shay, Black CEO, they have been that for me. So follow these men, get into that graphic club. You guys start making your businesses look like $1 million businesses and not businesses like George Fraser said.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what's interesting is one of the things we're going to do this year with the 24 Hours of Entrepreneurship event is all of the speakers and trainers that have been selected and workshop facilitators, digital workshop facilitators, obviously, is we also, that is going to be turned into a podcast on Apple, Last FM, and Stitcher.
Beautiful.
And also, many of them will be selected to be a part of the book that is going to release on the same day called Secrets of the Champions, right?
Come on.
And so it's the event, it's the podcast, and it's the book. So, you know, if you got something to say and you think an entrepreneur could benefit from it, and don't just think all entrepreneurs need to hear about is branding and marketing. I had a young lady that I spoke to the other day. She says, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs got bad health. And that's why I asked her, I said, well, what you going to do about it? And she says, well, I'll let you know because I'll be speaking at the event. And so Constance will be there. George Fraser will be speaking there.
Powerhouse.
You know, Dr. Sonia Scribbling, Allison Bird. Yeah, you know, the lineup is just going to be amazing. Justin Burns from Maestro, one of the top Black developers in the country. You got Justin Morgan, one of the automation gurus out there in the space.
Robert Antonin.
The leadership guru. Nicole S. Cooper, going to be talking about, you know, how to have a family, have a husband, and have a business and be good at all three. Right? I was like, whoa.
Come on.
She was clear. She said, I'm good at all three.
I could have it all. Having it all. I love it.
And you know, one of the things is during this time, it's a good time to start focusing on your future and where you're going. And you know, I saw a post on Facebook the other day. It says, "I finished Netflix." I know a lot of people feel that same way. I'm like, okay, you know, it's time to go back to business, get the work in, and start to develop those habits. So things that you wanted to know about entrepreneurship. This is, you know, rarely as adults do we get a chance to really go back to school. And, you know, there's all sorts of things that's happening. Like there are people who you've been working on your book for 3 years. You've been at home for 3 weeks, right? And you ain't wrote 3 chapters in your book. You know what I mean? So it's like,
if this ain't, I don't know, if this ain't getting you motivated to do something, I don't know what will. Because there will never be a time such as this, hopefully.
Yeah. Soraya Vant will be there teaching her authorship blueprint.
Yeah, she got a TED Talk coming up. I got a TED Talk coming up. It's on and popping.
Yeah, it's on and popping. This is the time, you know. The thing about the Great Depression and the recession, right, is not everybody who lived during the time of the Depression went through the Depression. And not everybody who lived in the era of the recession went through the recession. The people who went through the recession and the Depression were people who failed to adapt to the change in time. And so it's not about what's happening in the moment. That's not the question. The question is, how will you adapt? How will you adapt? Right? What is required for you to adapt? How will you innovate in this new space? All that's happening is new opportunities are coming up. Everybody ain't doing less business. I saw a post on Yahoo about how liquor sales are up 800%.
Come on. Hey, listen. You know I'm an investor in a marijuana dispensary. Right. You know that much. Come on.
And people are smoking a lot more marijuana. Nobody works harder than Constance Carter, right? But like I said, that's a perfect example of utilizing those wealth principles, working with what you have. The opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. Poor is just a reflection of what you did with those resources. Wealth is nothing more than the manifestation of resources that have been developed, right?
That's right.
And so if you look up and you feel like your bank account doesn't reflect how good you actually are, it has a lot to do with what did you do with the resource.
Drop the mic. All right, y'all. Thank you, Trevor Otts, for all that wisdom that you've dropped, all that game that you've dropped. And again, you guys follow, I want to call him Dr. Trevor Otts. The way he be doing surgery, man, y'all don't even know. I'm
Give me a message on Instagram if you got a question. So
hit him on. What's your IG?
Trevor Otts, TrevorOtts. Just send me a message on Instagram. I do answer the question. IG?
Come on. Yep. So this guy, I'm glad to have him in my circle of friendship and influence, and you guys do the same. One of the things that my friend Lisa Nichols says is when you have access, latch onto that caboose and ride that thing till the wheels fall off, if you can. And people like him, they're willing to give the information. They're willing to help. You just got to be willing to invest. All right? Yep. All right. Take care. God bless. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Peace.
We had a little ball on this one.
Yeah, it was fun. You was getting the trap.